Hello, Stickasaurus here, and today we're not doing a helmet video. We are doing a little sit-down interview hangout with JetJaguar, the legend. If you're on Instagram or you enjoy Toku of any source, I'm sure you've seen him. But we got the man here himself. How are you doing?
Okay.
Okay.
For a cold Thursday.
Cold Thursday over in all the way in California. It's cold there.
It's 50 something today. Well, for us it's cold, but for you guys, you probably get snow and ice and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, we're getting like 3 inches, I think, tonight.
Oof.
And it's like been like in a negatives.
I haven't seen snow in a long time.
I guess we'll start this off. Just tell us a little about yourself.
Well, I live in California. As you can see, I love Tokusatsu Heroes. Loved Godzilla, Ultraman, and all that when I was a kid. Here in California, we had Ultraman show, Spectre-Man, Space Giants, which in Japan is Magma Taishi. We had Gorenja, Kamen Rider V3, Akamaiser 3, a lot of classic anime and stuff like Go Line, which was Voltron, a lot of the Super Robots, Mazinga Z, and all that. I mean, stuff. Most of the live action stuff is what was unique to Los Angeles and San Francisco, and I think a little bit because we had a big Japanese TV station here, so did LA, and all of them came from Hawaii, but around the country they didn't get any of that stuff. So, yeah, but the anime kind of filtered around a little bit, and then of course videotapes was a big thing, people trading videotapes. I had friends in Japan who would send me all the latest shows once a month, so there'd be 4 episodes of a tape, and then be whatever the writer show was, and then miscellaneous. So every month I'd get a VHS tape with 6 hours on it. All my friends, we'd all gather around and watch it for the month. So it's pretty cool.
That's
nowadays
just awesome.
Everything's downloaded, so it's so easy to get. But back then, everything was snail mail. You had to write your pen pal, and they take pictures of toy stores. Hey, this stuff you want, and then by the time you get a reply and send it back, it's been 3 weeks and half the stuff's gone. So, but we had Japantown. We have a Japantown here. When I was younger, they had lots of toy stores with lots of stuff, bull marks and all kinds of stuff. You couldn't get helmets, but you get all the books and magazines and all that. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
And about what time was that? Like what?
75, 6, 7, 8. It started fizzling out in the late 80s. Like the stores started closing. And now it's just Kinokuniya books. Just used to be a Tokusatsu section. It was huge. It'd be Godzilla, da-da-da. Now it's like relegated to about this big, 2 shelves. Godzilla, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, just boop. I mean, most people around the country don't have access to it, but I'm so used to seeing it,
Yeah.
I used to be able to go there and just get tons of books. Now it's like 1 or 2.
So, it's just like,
that's what I think
around back then is just mind-boggling to me, honestly.
Well, I mean, back then, everything was snail mail. You had to go through magazines, like Starlog magazine would have like a little ad, like, oh, I have Japanese toys for sale. Then you'd write to them, and then they write you back what they had. Then you had to write back, tell them what you want. Then they tell you how much it was shipping. Then you had to send them a money order. It was a whole deal, man. And then you get a pen pal in Japan. That was like golden ticket. So they'd want like American toys, and we'd just swap. And I did that for years and years. All my friends did. It'd be a big deal, to have American friends or Japanese friends. They can get you stuff. So, yeah. And then Hawaii just was a gold mine for Japanese toys. It was Kikaida was popular there. Gorenja, those were like the 2, and Rainbow Man were like the big ones. And I was doing some of the stage shows in Japan and Hawaii for Kikaida and V3. I usually did V3 or Akarenja. I did Gabon and Kaiketsu Zabat because we had Hiroshi Miyauchi, who did V3 and Zubats, and Aurenja from Gorenja, so he came. And then Bon, who played Jiro and Kikaida, and then Ikeda-san, who played 01. They would come and they'd do a little stage show. So I got involved with that. I went once just to watch. I go, wow, that's so cool. And I became friends with all the people, and they knew I did stage stuff in Japan. So like, hey, you should do this. And just kind of happened. So I did that for 6 years until it kind of just fizzled out. Like the Kikaida boom in Hawaii just, it came really big in the 70s, dropped to nothing, and kind of popped back up in the early 2000s, then dropped again. So now it's on its downward. Nobody even talks about that much in Hawaii anymore, which is a shame.
I mean, when I think of that show, I think of Hawaii for some reason. I don't. I'm pretty sure someplace
If
that
it wasn't
released
for Hawaii,
something.
yeah, because Hawaii subtitled all the shows.
Yes.
Kiku TV. This lady Joanne Ninamiya, she was working for Kiku TV. So the Japanese guest, like Kikaida, she told a really funny story. And I asked her, like, what was it like back when they came over? And he goes, well, Kikaida was popular on TV. Kids were wearing the T-shirts. Like, people would bootleg T-shirts at stores. So they decided, we're going to have Bond come over. So they brought over Bond and a couple of the suit actors. So they had like a couple monsters, henchmen, and Kikaida. And so like, oh, let's do it at the Pearl Ridge Mall. Put a little stage up. Well, they didn't realize the population, like 20,000 people showed up for something that was meant for like 200 possibly. And they're like, oh, this is not what we wanted. So it was just mayhem. So they ended up doing it again. They put it in like a little amphitheater. I think it was in Ala Moana. And they did that a few times. But it was crazy. Even when I did the show, there's still lines of people to see Bond get an autograph. Like old people who remember from the 70s, little kids who watch it because they were showing it on TV again as of like 4 years ago. So little kids are in there, the teenagers are in there, the old people are in there. So it was really, really cool.
It's nice when it's a generational thing,
Yeah, Kikaida in Hawaii is like Batman is here. It's so iconic there. And people here don't understand. We saw it here, and we would get Kikaida toys and stuff here, but not like in Hawaii, because Hawaii is, a little place. Whereas here, there's so much to go for. The channel here is called Kimo Channel 20, which was an international station. Sunday morning was like the Tokusatsu stuff, and then the rest was dramas. So Channel 26 became, in the 90s, became the international station, but they showed NHK News and one Japanese drama, and the rest was Chinese and Vietnamese. So San Diego Comic-Con came, and they brought Bond to be a guest. And, people here are like, oh, Bond's here. So my friend August, people I know August Dragoni, he's like massive authority on anything Tokusatsu. So me and him got together, we talked to Joanne. So Bond and Joanne, we got them in touch with Joanne. So she went to Channel 26, me, Augie, and Bond went to Channel 26 to pitch Kikaida. And the one guy we were pitching to knew of Kikaida from a kid. Like, so Bond and Joanne think it's Hawaii. So they're pitching it as a little kid show, like coloring books and all that. And the guy's just like, So me and Augie are just like, I'm talking to Joanne. I was like, hey, can me and Augie talk for a couple minutes? Okay. So we pitched it to him how it should have been pitched as a kitschy thing for people our age and like teenagers and people who are getting into anime and stuff. And so we made sense. And the guy goes, oh yeah, I could see that. And, and I had a Kikaida suit and all that. So I brought my helmet and all that. And the guy's like, yeah, that sounds kind of cool. Yeah, that's cool. So if it wasn't for me and Augie doing that, it would have never came back to Channel 26. So Channel 26 started showing it again. Of course, it got popular here again. So now the DVDs are selling here. So me and August, we Channel 26 at the Cherry Blossom Festival in Japan. I don't know why I'm pointing. You can't see it. We did a Kikaida appearance. And, the Kikaida helmet's that little, like...
Yeah.
Oh, anyway, you've seen it before. But it's pinholes, right?
Yes.
I don't know if you can see it from here. It's that one, but it's just like pinholes. So we do an appearance, and Augie's like my handler. So I'm standing in the booth doing poses with people. So we had to leave, because Augie had to go to work, and I wanted to take costume. I've been in it for like 4 hours. So we're walking, and they had these wires kind of taped to the ground. So I'm stepping on the wires. I thought nothing of it. And apparently, because I didn't see it, because I'm looking straight ahead, this little girl goes, hi, Kikaida. And apparently I knocked her down and stepped on her arm and kept walking.
Oh
like,
my
not
God.
when I was stepping on, it was the wire. And the girl was like, yeah. And the dad's like, what the hell? And Augie's just in my ear, go, don't stop. And I'm like, what? And I can't see. Someone's like, okay. So we went back to the store and changed. He goes, dude, you knocked the little girl and stepped on her arm. I was like, I didn't know. It was pretty funny.
That's wild. I think the biggest thing is people don't understand how little vision you have in helmets like that.
Dude, like, you know, like, can you see this? Like the vision in Black, there's millions of tiny little holes here, and this really you can't see out too much unless you put your head like that. A million little holes here. Here's more vision. This is a lot of vision. This is a stunt one, so it's visors. But the tricky ones to see out of I would say the Kikaida ones in Ultraman. When I was doing the Ultraman stuff, man, oh man, talk about claustrophobia.
Yes.
Claustrophobia, man.
It's so hard to get like the holes lined up right so you can.
It's like let me show you this one. Okay, here's Tiga. This is pulled off the suit. You can't really see, but the eye holes are these little teeny things right here. And if you see, they're set down here, and my eyes are actually here.
Yes.
So when I walk, I'm like looking up or if I walk, I'm just seeing people's feet. So I'll just get behind somebody and just follow their feet. And if they stop, I stop.
So I made orb.
Yeah.
I have the same exact. Like the eye holes are down here, but like mine's set up here, and it's like
like zero. The eyes are up here. Like Guy and some of the other ones, the eye holes are up here, which is perfect. But Tiga, for some reason, a pain in the ass.
Yeah, the Ultraman seems scary. Like I'm just slowly inching my way in the Ultraman. I don't know if it's apparent or not, but I like the Showa stuff.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I grew up in the Showa era, but I like the Showa and the Heisei the best. That era from like the 60s, 70s up until like the late 90s. That's all the way up to like the 2000s. That was like the pinnacle of Tokusatsu, like everything about it. I mean, the newer shows are cool, but it's like it's now pandering. What happened was, you know how all the guys are pretty boys now, like kind of like Decade and all those guys are just kind of like pretty boys. What happened was, Kuga, like Kamen Rider forever was a kid show. Nobody cared. Teenagers liked it, otaku liked it, and kids liked it. Mm-hmm. So for some reason, Toei decided to hire a pretty boy to be the human in Kuga. So like moms would watch the show with their little kids, right? And then the mom's like, "Ooh, that guy's kind of hot." So now the moms are watching the show to check out the hot guy, and then the teenage girls are like, "Ooh, he's hot." So it became a thing, and that's what kind of boosted Kamen Rider again, because Black kind of saved it, RX, and then it kind of dropped. And then they did like the two movies, Zio and J, and people are like, yeah, because those are just movies at the theater. Like, But when Kuga came out and had a pretty boy, like that's it. So from Kuga forward, always pretty boys. And then anime became more popular. And then now they kind of look like girly, like Korean model guys, so.
Yeah.
Because you get Hiroshi Fujioka and Hiroshi Miyuchi who are just ass kickers. And then you get these guys who just are like, oh, it's weird. It's still good, but it's so weird to watch that transition from Showa to now. Just the human characters are just anime people. It's very bizarre.
So when I got serious about this and started watching stuff, like I only watch chronologically. So I started to Go Ranger and slowly been working my way through. And like just the more I got into it, I'm like, no one appreciates some of this old stuff, and it hurts. It's like there's such great things like Flashman, Live Man, Mask Man, Change Man. Like those are some of my favorites, honestly. Yeah. And like when I went looking for them, there's like nothing there. Like no one cares. That's why I've been trying to do all the Showa helmets. Like I only have like 12 left to make. It's
getting more love now because Toei's been showing some of the episodes online, because now I see people cosplaying, and plus Shin Kamen Rider came out, so people are like, oh, that's cool. What else is there? And then they start discovering the older stuff. But like I used to, like I would wear, Akarenja at a convention. People had no fucking clue what it was. Like unless they're older people or Japanese or total geeks, they'd know what it was. But they wouldn't know what it was. I'd wear like V3, and they go Bugman. Like forever, Bugman, like through the 80s and 90s and early 2000s. And then Power Rangers came out. Then everything's Power Rangers. Oh, Power Rangers. Like I'd wear Ultraman. Oh, Power Rangers. Anything. Amazon. Oh, Power Rangers. And so it's like weird. That's how their perception is it. Like I wore Tiga at the convention a couple weeks ago. And people are like, "Oh, I love Power Rangers, man. That's a cool. What season's that?" I'm like,
Oh,
I just pretend I can't hear them. I just keep walking. I'm like, "Yeah, you're an idiot." But
yeah. I had my neighbor describe Kamen Rider to me as the rip-off Japanese Power Rangers, and I died a little inside. I was like, and
talking about Shin Kamen Rider or just Kamen Rider in general?
just in general, probably honestly Master Rider because he's probably a little bit younger than me, so that's probably only exposure he ever had was probably
Right.
Master Rider, but the Saban
Yeah,
dub over
which
here.
was horrible.
I was like, oh,
Yeah, Dragon Knight was good. Like my friend Steve Wang directed it, and another friend of mine was like the prop master. But when they go vent, I'm gonna vent him. Like I didn't get to go on set at that time when they were shooting that. I would have told, because when I saw it, I called him up. I finally saw the first episode of Dragon Knight, which thing I said, you should have said vent. It makes no sense in English,
yeah.
But vent, in Japanese it makes no sense either. But it's part of the whole thing. But here, that word doesn't translate for what it was supposed to be. I'm going to vent him now. They're like, what? They should have just said, I'm gonna destroy him. And every time I would hear him say, I'm gonna vent this, I was just like, dude, Steve of all people, who's a total otaku, why he left that word in? I guess, it's a homage to the original. Yeah, but it makes no sense. So
Yeah,
I would have said that. I've said it to him before in person.
So you worked on stage shows primarily in Japan?
Just stage shows, like live appearances and stage shows. Everyone goes, "Oh, you worked at Toei." Well, a roundabout way I did, but I didn't work on the shows or anything.
When did you start doing the stage shows?
80s, I guess. Off and on in the 80s. And then I did a lot of stuff here, a lot of stuff in Hawaii. So just kind of bounced around. But it's funny. It's funny. Like if you watch early Power Rangers, like the first 3 seasons when it was the American Stunt Group, versus when Koichi took over, man, it's night and day. It'd be like, Kia, 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 And then Koichi was like a stunt man for it. And Jeff Pruitt was the stunt coordinator who was good at what he did, but trying to translate that into like the Japanese side. Then Koichi took over as executive man. The fights just became Japanese fights. Like, because in Power Rangers, in Japan, they it's like kabuki. Everything's expressive. Like they talk, they do. It's like you don't have a helmet on, so if you have a helmet on, everything's expressive. Whereas Power Rangers, the first 2 seasons, they're like, yeah, oh, it's not body language. It's not. It's weird. You watch first season of Power, like one episode of Power Rangers from the first season, versus Zyuranger, and just the way the stunt actors move in the suits is different. Like you can see them talking, even though you can't see the mouth move, but you just feel, even if you had the sound up, you knew what was going on just from the way they move. And Saban, like Jeff Pruitt is awesome stunt coordinator, but for Japanese style, I don't think he worked well as that, because he's used to American kung fu and stuff like that, which is great. And when I first saw it, I was just like, dude, the fight, when they started shooting their own fights, I was like, it doesn't look like Japanese stuff at all. There's no fluidity to the stuff, and it doesn't have that same body language talk, And you watch Zyuranger, and what's going on. Turn the sound up, you know what's going on. Whereas Power Ranger was kind of stiff, and the karate was like, yeah. And like Japan, you learn stage fighting, big movements, big reactions, and this and that. Whereas Power Rangers at the time was pow, pow, chop. It was just, it's so slow. It's just slow. Yeah. I mean, not knocking those stunt guys, because they were doing what they were told to do. But Koichi knows what to do. And it just changed it. Like Power Rangers, I can't watch. I just turn the sound off and just watch it, because the fights are cool, but I just couldn't watch Power. I can't watch Power Rangers. The dialogue is horrendous. I watched all of Dino Charge because Yoshi was in it. I'm friends with Yoshi, so I watched the whole season. But man, oh man, it's dialogue in those shows are just diabolical.
Yeah, right? Like, people got rose-tinted glasses for some of that, for sure.
Yeah. Dragon Knight was good. Like, the action was good, the pacing was good, everything about it had a good feel to it. My only beef was the vent. Aside from that, it was a good show. Masked Rider and VR Trooper, oof, terrible. I was so sad when they did RX. I'm glad it didn't last long.
Yeah, VR Trooper hurts me. Just seeing all those wasted, beautiful suits. Just
yeah, with VR Trooper, they remade all the suits. I have the Metalder helmet here in the other room, and I have a casting of the Spielband helmet, and all the suits were retooled. None of them were from Toei. I think they had one helmet, and that was it, or maybe one suit armor. But the armor's all remolded. The helmets are sculpted different. They're completely different from the originals. And you watch the show like it's in the other room, but like Scheider, you know, it's tiered like this, but on VR Troopers that was just smooth, and that was a piece of screen that they talked through, so you didn't really get.
Really?
Yeah, it's very. If you can hang on 1 second, I can grab the Metalder helmet and hold. Hang on, I'll be right back.
I would love that.
Hang on 1 second.
I'm a slut for helmets.
I have some screen-used Charivan henchman masks.
Wow.
For one henchman I got from the show. Here's an original Changey Man henchman helmet with the Mackie hair, and it's a little trash, but this thing's seen a lot of action.
That's amazing.
A Denzi Man original emblem. Dynaman original. This is a stunt album emblem because it doesn't have the writing on it.
Okay.
Here's Gogo 5.
Wow.
Here's Sun Vulcan. I'll take a picture of the. I'll send you a little video of it, and you can just stick it into this.
Yeah, please.
But yeah, I went to Toei one day, and the guy, because I used to just go to Toei and just hang out like all day, go to the costume shop and go through stuff. And the guy, Mr. Nakamura, was the head of it, and I used to just go in there and hang out with him all day and just look at the suits and do stuff. And then one day he goes, "Hey, I got something for you," because I was leaving Japan. He goes, "I got something for you," and he gave me this box. And he goes, "Oh, just look at it when you get back to your room." I went, "All right," because it's all taped up. And I got back and it was all that stuff. Because we were talking. He also gave me a Changey Man blaster, a screen-used blaster, the belt, and Bioman screen-used belt, Dynaman screen-used belt, Changey Man screen-used belt. The emblem, Kamen Rider. I have a Destron belt, God belt. Give me like a bunch of henshin. This box was just full of shit.
That's mind-boggling. Like, that's so cool. Like
And this is a Gigi from. This is a Gigi made for the original TV show from the 70s. And it's just this weird cast stuff, but it's in good shape because it got rehabbed. When I got it, it'd been repainted and stuff, but it was used. When I saw a picture of it when he first got it, and it was just destroyed. So I think this is supposed to be put on a display mannequin, and I guess they had another one, so they used it. But he gave me this one too. And of course, I ended up inheriting a bunch of suits and helmets and whatnot. Inherited. I did a lot of trades with people back then because everybody back then wanted Stormtrooper stuff. So I'd get a Stormtrooper armor parts, and I would just, because they put those all in a box, ship it off, and I'd get back stuff. And plus, I would wear a suit, and a lot of times those suits just, just take it home, bring it back sometime. And then you just forget, 7 months goes by, and I'm like, oh, fuck, let's go went home with it. And that's kind of how I accumulated. And then friends gave me a bunch of them.
What, I guess, I assume they're stage suits. You have these
Yeah, I have screen used helmets and I have appearance, like the stage show suits. Um, Stage show, the bodysuit of a stage show suit is exactly the same as the screen used. The belts and the helmets are different. The helmets are smaller for stage show, so they don't rattle around. And the belts usually are cheaper. Like the gun is usually just like a piece of foam molded to look like the gun. And the belts are either the emblems are just a piece of rubber, like a rubber copy. It's like silver or black rubber, and they just paint it, so they get banged up a lot. So
That makes sense. I mean,
yeah, I mean, because you see them sometimes for
I'm
sale,
gonna
and they're
see.
wanting like 20 grand for them, and they're beat to hell. Like the Toronto Ranger one I saw pop up for sale, and the belt buckle wasn't even a buckle; it was just like a embroidered patch stuck on the shape. And the gun, the blaster was just a piece of foam cut and painted like the blaster. It's meant to just stay in the holster. The helmet, was very small. The suit was just destroyed, dirty. The elbows were, and the guy was selling it for 10 grand. I was like, who would pay that for that? I was like, and he even says, I'm selling this as junk because it's not really wearable anymore. And he's asking 10 grand. The helmet's
Jeez.
cracked. I was like, are you crazy? I don't think he ever sold it. Nobody's gonna pay that much for it.
I would hope not.
I wouldn't.
Well, obviously you've been on a lot of stage shows. So which one was your favorite?
Kakaida ones.
Really?
Yeah, they're more fun.
So let me. Is your Kakaida helmet like actually like screen?
No, it's a cast. It's cast off the original one that I just when I was in Japan. I got the casting and all the vacuum form parts. I just had to find all the correct motorcycle parts to put on it, which was a Kawasaki ZX500. I forgot what it was, but it's a model you can buy, and that's all the parts on it. And then the eyes were just molded. So I basically just got a casting with all the parts. This guy, Mr. Masamoto in Japan, he's kind of like otaku too. He just gave me the kit. Oh, here's all the parts if you want a Kikaida helmet. And he gave me a bag of the motorcycle parts. And I don't know where they went. He goes, oh, just look at pictures. And that's why I just kind of figured it out and glued it all together and painted it and stuff. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, but it's... And then the 01, a guy in Hawaii made. He did a really good job on that one. It looks just like the screen used one. And like some of these, I'll move it up. Like these were used, this was used, this was used, that was used. And X was used, Stronger was used. This one I think was used, but it was when I got it was trashed. It could have been used, or somebody just destroyed the hell out of it. This was a stunt one. This was used on I think this was an appearance Red Flash. I can't confirm that. This was let me actually pull this out. This was what they call a hero helmet. And the hero helmets, if you look, hang on, these, because if you notice in the show, they don't have hinges on the outside. They have pins.
The fancy cotter pins, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, and that's how they are. And then inside, if you see inside where the glass, because the visor's so big, they put like a pantyhose nylon in it so your face doesn't show. Because if you look at like Gogol 5 and some of those, you see the guy's face.
Yes.
So in the bright lights, what they started doing is putting the it's like pantyhose material black over it, so the light doesn't reflect on it.
Yeah, that's what I do with my Time Rangers. I just pantyhose usually. I mean, I know it's not the same, but
it does the same thing. That's all that really matters. And another thing is everyone. I was having a conversation with somebody, I forgot who it was, about the gloss. I think it was on Facebook. Somebody's talking about the glossiness of helmets. And I don't know where that's
brought this whole thing to fruition. That's why I wanted to talk to you, because I've been shouting my life that they're not that glossy. And
this is screen used, right? I mean, it's old paint, but it's exactly, this is the finish. It's just like a mild gloss, because people don't understand, if you have a super shiny helmet on studio lights, you're going to see all these lights reflecting. And people are like, well, that's not screen used, it's not glossy. I go, they're not glossy. And I think what happened was Anarchy started glossing the helmets fully. Because I've known Anarchy since the 90s, before he started doing selling stuff. He was just a geeky fan on this Thai website called Thai Toku, and that's how I met a lot of those Indonesian guys, was on that. And he was just like 20-year-old kid, and so we would trade stuff, and he made a Fies helmet and stuff. So we were just talking back, we would trade, and so I'd give him like Hardy Kenjin. A lot of those belt buckles he sells came from me because I molded them, and he traded me stuff. So we would just trade back and forth, and then it became Anarchy, that he is now. But he just started over glossing the helmets for some reason, and that's what people think the helmets are. That's like the gold standard upper helmet. I just look, I'm like, dude, they're just not that shiny. But they're like, these guys, I watch them gloss and so many coats gloss. I'm like, dude, that's not how they look. And then when Hasbro had screen-used Power Ranger helmets on display at 2018, I think it was, in Anaheim, not one of them was that glossy. Like, not one of them. And I was like, look, this is screen-used. It's not glossy. Oh, maybe dulled out. I go, no, they're not made glossy. Not one of my screen-used helmets are glossy. Not a single one.
Exactly. Trust me. So when I first got into Sentai and stuff, I was honestly probably 14, 15, and at the time the only person really making stuff was Anarchy. I was on record board and everything, and people doing builds and just showing off his stuff, and they were shiny. So I always thought they were shiny. Then when I finally actually got into this and looked, and they're not. You don't want to see the camera, you don't want all the lights on them. They're like a semi-gloss kind of.
Even the appearance ones aren't that shiny. Like the ones they have standing at the mall, they're not that shiny. Like King Osier, when he came out, there's a guy who did a really good close-up of the helmet when the guy was talking. It's not that shiny. The visor was shiny, but the helmet was. I was like, it drove me nuts, and I kept arguing with people. People are like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I guess I don't know what I'm talking about. It's been around them for 40-some-odd years.
You definitely know. But honestly, if I don't make a helmet glossy where you can't see yourself,
people cry.
Yeah, you're bad at this. I'm like,
yeah, I just stopped worrying about it. It's just.
I mean, I make them shiny. It makes people happy.
Yeah, if they like them shiny, they like them shiny. I mean, I like them. They should just have like a semi-gloss. It should have a gloss. Like a lot of helmets I just paint with a, like Rust-Oleum, and the gloss on it's exactly the gloss. Like a lot of. Back in the day, Kamen Rider helmets were all rattle can. They used Tamiya paints, and there's color codes for each one. Because 1 and 2 was like a green. This is the later 1 and 2. It's that kind of marine blue, but it's all stock Tamiya paints with a color code on it. You can pick the exact color, and they're rattle cans. People are like, oh, these are masterful guys with. No, they're dudes in the back with fucking rattle cans spraying them.
Yeah, they think they got automotive. They're back there cleaning cars and all that.
Yeah, if you look in my feed, you'll see a guy sitting there with a spray can spraying the helmet. I'm like, that's how high tech it is. When I went to Rainbow, when they were doing the Zoo Ranger helmets, I saw a guy in there spraying them. It's called Signal Red, whatever their Japanese brand is. It's called Signal Red. So I looked at the top, it said Signal. It's Aka, I can't remember how you say Signal. That's what it was. It's fucking rattle cans. And they're like 22 ounce, the big cans. And the guys out, and then some people were spraying the armor with a spray gun. But a lot of the helmets, I just saw guys, either they're touching them up or they're painting them, they're taped off, and guys just go. But,
people certainly overthink it. Absolutely. Which brings me to another big point. So what about the black lines on the helmets?
I saw two things. One, I saw a guy with a little weird pinstriping brush, and the other ones, they had tape, and they're taping the lines on, and then they shot like a semi-gloss over to hold it down. Like, I have one with that on it, actually. Where is it? Oh, yeah. The Gal Red is that. This one's been beat to hell. But this is right out to the way. This is tape. I don't know if you can see it good, but that's tape.
Yeah.
That's tape. I didn't watch him do it, but if you look at it, you can see it's tape, and then they just gloss right over it with something. Because if you look at sideways, you can see it's got just a slight gloss over it, but it was tape. But I see the guy with a pinstripe brush, pinstripe some armor for I think it was O-Ranger, one of the kaijin that had like armor, like medieval armor looking thing. The guy had a brush, he was going with it. But I think everyone just uses tape now.
Well, a lot of people don't think there are black lines on the helmets.
Well, people are also idiots.
I mean, you're not wrong, but
I'm sure there are some that don't have black lines.
I honestly don't know. I think some of the real early stuff doesn't.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But, like, barely. You know, it's honestly probably one of the most contested things aside from gloss. And, you know, I mean, I tape. I try to paint too, because people complain that if you mess with them enough, the tape's gonna pull. You know?
Well, what you do is you put the tape on, and then you just gloss. You can just I just get rattle can gloss, because the straight gloss isn't glossy, it's just semi-gloss. And you can just spray over it and it locks it down so it won't come up. Or other people take the graphics tape, they put a glue stick in like a vise, and they just go zip the glue stick over under the side, and they slide it on, it glues. It's very strange.
That's actually.
But everybody does. I've seen people do amazing pinstripe by hand, and people do amazing pinstripe with the tape. It's just, if you know how to do it, do it. You know, like O-Red's a lot of pinstriping on that. All this is pinstriped around the white. Otherwise, it'd just be a white doodad.
Yeah, and the pinstripes just make it pop, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it does. It gives definition to stuff, but I can tell some people don't like it. It's everybody's preference. I mean, there's no wrong way, unless you get the colors way off, but there's really no... Some people like the definition with the lines, some people don't. Like Mammoth Rangers, those white lines, you know, it's like weird, because I've seen them before where the lines were tiny, and then others, like on the show and in like displays in Japan, some have a thick white line, some have a very thin white line. Same with the Petra Ranger, same thing. It's just, I think people think they meticulously at Toei think everything out. I think those guys are like, oh, let's get another one out. Oh, this one's broken. I've watched them fix Ultraman suits, just like sitting there like, cigarette hanging out his mouth, just put a little glue on it, stick it together, and touch up the leg and paint it. And it's weird. I think when the suits first came out, when I went to Japan, Changing Man was ending and Flashman was starting. So I went to Toei, and they had a full Flashman suit, helmet, boots, gloves, belt, everything, in a plastic bag, stacks of them, just like a bunch of reds. That were the attraction show ones that go out to people. They all had the drill hole. And they're just like stacks of them, like full suits in plastic bags. It was like small, medium, large. But stacks of them, like probably 50 of each. I walked in and I want one of those so bad. I wanted one so bad. I mean, I just was dying to get a Flashman suit, because that's my favorite, because when I was living there, that was the first one I saw every day when it every Sunday when it shows. I was just like, boing.
Oh, and then the photography on Flashman is like top notch.
It's good. They had, I can't remember the cinematographer, but they had two. The last half cinematographer was just amazing. Like that fight with Booba and Red Flash, the way they shot it with that background. I mean, it's just like, it's just like, that is beautiful. I mean, that is like beautiful cinematography for a kid's show.
I know. You got me just thinking about that. It's so good.
It's Flashman to me was like that. That was it. And the day I got that helmet, man, I was like, I had wood the entire fucking day. I was just like, this is the best thing ever. And then when the guy gave me the belt and the gun and all that, I was like, yeah, I just didn't have the suit. But now I have the suit, so I don't. But I have a whole suit now. I've been dying to get that thing since Flashman. I haven't worn it to one con once. I wore Bioman, and no one knew who Bioman was. I was hanging out with the Power Ranger people, and nobody knew what it was. I was just like, oh, you guys are sad. So I figured if I brought Flashman, people would be like, they know Green Flash from Super Mega Force, but not Red Flash.
Yeah. So I guess if Flashman's your favorite Sentai, what's your favorite rider?
V3.
V3.
It's not my
I want to
favorite.
make.
It's not my favorite design. It's my favorite show. Aside from the original one, out of the later ones, I'd say Black is my second favorite. Black was just good. It was like it started strong, ended strong. RX, I was amazed that they did RX. You know, when that King still got broken into, I thought, okay, that's the end of the show. And then RX comes out, and RX was as good as the original. And then when all the writers came back, I was like, yeah, it's the first time all the writers really came back kind of like that. They did in CX, but the way they put them into RX was like, it's the best, man. So,
I do like I like Black's design better than RX. I just
me
don't like the
too.
green, but I think
Yeah,
Black is slick.
Black is
Everything
just
about it.
perfect. It's perfect. I like RX. I mean, I liked later in the seasons when the legs weren't green; they turned black. When it was just like black bodysuit. For some reason,
Oh,
when it was the bright green at the beginning, it's kind of like, oh, that's kind of weird because it matched this. But the later episodes, it was like dark. If you see a stage show, they're all black now. I think to me, it looks better all black. That's kind of the one I think of. You know.
I'd have to look. I've honestly never known.
Yeah, if you
I
watch,
made
it's two different colors.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah,
It's good to know.
it's cool. RX is awesome. That's the next suit that I'm working on now is RX. So I'll have black and RX, and then I want to do Shadow Moon.
Oh, Shadow Moon is
Shadow
like
Moon's,
the original Shadow Moon.
yeah.
That thing is sick.
That's
That
still,
thing is,
it's a really simple design. If you look at it, it's a very simple design, but it's so effective. Like, black is not, what was unique about black was more organic, like the
yeah.
veiny things here. It's just for some reason, I was like,
Yeah.
wow, that is such a cool idea. And that was really the first armored suit was black, I guess.
Yeah, fully armored, absolutely.
And then RX had Robo Rider and Bio Rider. I was like, what?
I forget about those, but yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, I wasn't keen on Bio Rider, but I liked Robo Rider. So yeah, it was very cool because RoboCop was all popular at that time. When I was in Japan, because I was at Toei, and Jetman was a guy at Toei told me, he goes, an American company bought Jetman, which was Sedan, but I didn't know the name of the company. And I was like, what? Because the last time Sentai was brought to the United States was on HBO. They had Dynaman, which was a comedy. They turned it into a comedy. It's on YouTube now, but they turned it into a comedy. It was horrible. It was funny, but horrible. And I was like, no, they're going to destroy Jetman. I go, that's sacrilege to destroy Jetman. And it never came on TV. And then Jurassic Park was huge, and all that stuff happened. Then a Ranger came out, and then 2 years later, boom! I saw ads for Power Rangers that we know now. When I asked again about it, oh yeah, they were still negotiating the Jetman stuff, and then Jurassic Park was everywhere. That was like dinosaurs, and then of course Toei jumped out and did Ranger. And I guess Saban just let the license for Jetman lapse and then just bought Ranger, and the rest is history. But they were smart. Because Toei was trying to get their stuff out, more popularity. So they sold the rights to Super Sentai for 20 years. That they had dibs on all the shows. And Toei's probably like, yeah, when that happened.
Yeah, nowadays
but
it's so
luckily
hard.
They did not destroy Jetman. It's the only thing I'm so thankful they did not adapt that into Power Rangers. I would cry.
That's fair. I do enjoy Jetman a good bit.
Jetman is so good on something. Every character on that show is good. And I like something about Sentai. Yeah, also Sentai, if you notice, each character is a personality. Like Gokaiger, they all have a personality. The goofy one, the serious one, the villain one, the crazy chick, the cool chick. It's in Power Rangers didn't have that. That's one thing Power Rangers also lacked. Distinct characteristics. Like Jetman, you had Guy, smoking, drinking, and doing stuff, and Ray, and then they all had distinct personalities. And then Power Rangers just lost that. Like it never entered their train of thought. That people, oh no, they're just kids. They don't have personalities. And that was one thing I also noticed. It's just generic kids.
Well,
But
they do that, and they never develop anything. Like they give them
nah,
a characteristic, and they never go any further than
yeah.
that.
I mean, it's successful. I mean, I'm not a Power Ranger fan, but man, hats off to those guys. Tapped into a market and they knew what to do with it. I mean, look at Amy Jo Johnson and I was gonna say John, uh, Steve Carnes. All those guys have careers because of that. Going to cons, like it meant so much to people at that time. It's like when Hiroshi Fujo goes somewhere to sign massive lines because he meant something to those kids at that time. Same with Power Rangers because I was older, so Power Rangers I was like, ah. But when you talk to kids in like their 30s now, they're like, oh, dude, you don't know what it was like to watch Power Rangers when you were a kid. I was like, yeah, I don't, but I understand. Like, I used to knock Power. I always talk crap about to everybody. And I started thinking about it. I was like, why am I pissing on their parade? Because I was the same way with this stuff and nobody cared. So I was just like, I kind of stopped. I used to go on Facebook groups and just start posts just to irritate people. And I just
Come
one day
on.
just stopped. I just stopped one day. I was like, why am I making fun of these people? Because they're generally into it and they really enjoy it. So why am I being a dick about it? Because I was like Sentai purist, but I'm just like, I don't care anymore. Like I became friends with Steve Cardenas and just talking to him about stuff. I was just like, yeah, man, his stories about meeting fans, what it meant to the people. I'm like, and it just kind of was like, yeah, you're right, man. I don't know why I knocked this shit so much, so.
No, I get that. I'm definitely more of a Sentai guy. I mean, the only thing I ever knock on is like everyone worshiping Green Ranger. It just gets old,
and White
I
Ranger.
won't make I refuse 100%. Like,
I guess
won't make those ugly Bat in the Sun ones. Nothing.
Yeah, just Green Rangers. I mean, it's a cool design, but yeah, I'm like you. I get that and the White Ranger. I'm very tired of seeing the cosplay. Like Power Morphicon, you can count on about 50 Red Rangers, 50 Green Rangers, 50 White Rangers. It's just varying degrees of how the suit looks together. Does it look handmade? Does it look bought? Did they fix this? Does this look right? It is what it is. So
Yeah, I guess Burr Eye's gonna be at
yeah,
Power Morphicon. I told people, I said, I'll make you a Changeman helmet for a discount if you don't take a Green Ranger helmet too.
Yeah.
Like that's how adamant I am about it.
My Jew Ranger script is signed by the entire cast and some of the key stuntmen, and that took forever to get all the signatures.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I got some of them in Japan, some of them here, and then my friend Jonathan Lee, he got 2 signatures for me too. So
It's hard. It's anti-actors because some of them just retire and they're just
yeah. The guy who
done.
plays Red Mask, he's just like, I'm done, but he has his bar, so fans come and talk to him, so he likes that. But he's not about going out and promoting the show. It's like, hey, I did it. And the guy who did Blue 5, he has a bar called 7 Bar, and he puts Sentai stuff in there, but he doesn't go out and stuff. You want to meet him? Come to my bar, buy some drinks. I'll talk to you. So, which I haven't even gone there yet. I was by there 3 times. I didn't go in. So,
I wish I could find Miss America. Like she just dropped off face of the earth. I would.
Yeah, I never see her at cons. I met all of the Gorenja cast, and they signed that board that I posted a few times. They all signed it, and it was just a fluke because a friend of mine took me because they're doing that TV show where they interviewed all of them. And I got to go, and Hiroshi Miyuchi I'd met doing a Kikaida show, so he's like, "Oh, hey," and I go, "Oh," and I had the Shikishi, and I put a picture of Gorenja in the middle, and I was like, can I get the sign? He goes, give it to me. So he signed. He had everybody sign it. So he had to all sign it. And I was like, and I showed it to a few friends in Japan. They're like, how'd you get all of them to sign it? I was like, because the guy who plays Kira Ranger, he's got a lot of health problems. So he doesn't go anywhere. But they all did that, and I had them all sign it, and I was stoked. The only guy who didn't show up was the actor who plays Akarenja, and that got signed later. So I was just like, whew. That's my most prized possession, I think, is that getting signed by that entire cast.
I can understand. They're old.
They're old.
Yeah.
But they're still alive.
So you got a lot of helmets. Is
I,
is
I have
what's your goal?
I have no goal.
No goal.
No. I mean,
Just
I think the only complete teams I have is, aside from Averenja, is a missing Blue Swan from Jetman. Yeah. I'm mostly into the red helmets, but I have 180 helmets, maybe a little bit more. Well, I have, not counting Ultraman helmets and stuff, but Sentai ones. So there's what, 100 just in this room, or what? No, 90, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 98 in the room, just in the living room here, and then some down the hallway. And then I have boxes of them. Like I have Saber and a bunch of other ones that are just in boxes somewhere that, I don't have room for them. So, because there's helmets here, helmets here, helmets here, helmets there.
Trust me, my house is full. I got like 200 in here.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's maybe too much, but it's not stopping.
Yeah, I don't avidly seek them out. Now it's if I come across an unusual one. Like, I'm trying to get all 3 Akamaiser 3. I'm missing Gabara. It's the only one of the 3 I'm missing. I'm missing, I know I have that. I'm missing anything from Band Kid. I'm working on all the Showa Ultraman. But I'm just trying to get the ones that I really like. As opposed to hoarding everyone just to have all of them. I now at the point where I only get the ones of the characters and the shows I really like. Like Jetman I like, so I'm avidly pursuing those. Aberenja I love, so I avidly pursued getting those. But yeah, I'm like the common writers, I just want all the Showa. I'm missing ZX, and I'll have all the Showa writers. And that's the only one I'm missing. But yeah, I'm just at the point now, like I used to hoard, like just buy everything, go to Japan, buy everything. Now I'm at the point like, damn, I have what, 3 storage bins now full of stuff that I have no room for. Like no room. I have a top half of a Zord. I have the robot helmets from Beat Fighter. I got weapons from Beat Fighter that are like 10 feet long. I have nowhere to put it, I have boxes of scripts. I used to just get scripts. Toei, I just go, take what you want. So it was like the dramas, and so I take anything Tokusatsu, I just boop, and I fill it. Like I have all of V3 scripts, I have all the Kikaider scripts, all the Super One, and then miscellaneous from other shows. And then when I got that's the only Jew Ranger one I have, but it's a good episode, and it's the appearance of Green Ranger, so I had it signed by everybody. But because I collect scripts, so people go, I know you like scripts. Like when I had Miyuchi sign the Zubat script, he's like, oh, this isn't a good episode. Like, I go, you'll sign it. He goes, well, yeah, I'll sign with it. This wasn't a good episode. He goes, I wasn't in it very much. I go, the show's about you. I don't know what episode is it? 15. And then the Orenja script I have, Pinocchio, that Pinocchio-looking monster. Miyuchi's not in it, but he signed it anyway. I like give him 2 scripts. He wasn't really in much. I was like,
That's a collection. Like I'm a little jealous. That's amazing.
I got over 150 full suits from writers, space sheriffs, metal heroes, Ultraman, giant robot. Well, Spectreman is the one I'm finishing, the bodysuit part. I have 2 of the helmets. I have the B one and the C one, but the suit I'm making is the C one. It's just the shape of the mouth is different. Like Ultraman A. Ultraman A is the rubbery looking one, and then B, the mouth is narrow, and C is the mouth's wider. Unless you're a super geek, you'd never know the difference between B and C. But A is very distinct. Yeah, that one's very distinct. The scariest suit was Ultraman Taro. Scariest, most claustrophobic one. So I couldn't reach behind that and zip it, and I was 2 little pee hole. It was.
I was gonna say he's just this little.
Yeah,
yellow.
I freaked the F out in that one. It was the only time I've ever been that claustrophobic in a suit. That was the scariest one. But after a while, you get used to it.
You did stage shows for all the big 3, Ultraman and Kamen Rider and Sentai. Mm-hmm. Well, I guess last question: what were your favorite of those 3? I know you already went over the Sentai one. Or I guess
Kamen Rider.
Yeah.
Kamen Rider. I mean, out of all the shows, it's Kamen Rider, Sentai, Ultraman. Like, if somebody said, what's out of the three, what's your top? I'd say Kamen Rider. Kamen Rider is my favorite of all the shows. Super Sentai is they're like this, so close, and then Ultraman's here. I love Ultraman stuff, but a lot of it's kind of all of it's repetitive, but I just like, I shouldn't even show you that. I like them all the same, actually, but I think Kamen Rider pulls ahead for me. I think easily pulls ahead. But I love the Sentai stuff, too. So.
I mean, you're a Showa Kamen Rider boy, so I'll let that one slide. I respect it.
I mean, I loved Saber. I loved Revice. I mean, a lot of them I liked. I just, I'm a Showa guy, but I love the new stuff, too. But if somebody said you can only pick one, I'd Showa era. For me, just because the shows were goofier, but they're so endearing. The amateurish of it was just, it's so weird. Like Spider-Man, if you watch the show, you're like, wow, it's so low budget, but those guys were doing that crazy stuff with nothing. Yes. They have a pad. Oh, you fall, you hit the pad. You missed the pad, now you're fucked. So it's just like it was like those guys were doing it. They fall. Like Hiroshi Watari, who does Charivan, I watch him jump off a cliff onto a pad that's 10 by 10 from 150 feet up. And when you're 150 feet up, it looks it looks that big, and he's I was like, dude, no way in hell would I do that. He's like, yeah. Oh, you're gonna do it again? Okay, yeah. And those guys, you watch him, you're like, you guys are insanity.
Wow, people don't appreciate all the work that goes into that stuff. You know?
I have a YouTube video I shot on the set of Just Beyond that's crazy. Just all this crazy shit that went on behind the scenes, like how they do this. I really wish I could have just been on set for so many shows, just sit there all day and watch them film, just all day, how they do the stuff. And it's funny, when I went on the set of Metalder, I just went straight to the suit actors and sat there and talked to them. And just, Kaneda was there, who I didn't really know that well, but I just saw him a lot. And once I met Hiroshi Watari, he introduced me to everybody. Like, oh, here's him. We'd all go hang out. I stayed at Hiroshi's house for 2 weeks. And all the Jack guys would come over and stuff. But I went to the suit actor guys, talking to them. I go, oh, which one do you know? I do Metalder. I do, I forgot his name now. Not Gunda. Whatever his name is. But I saw them all, and there's a video on YouTube of me on the set shooting them, putting their suits on and stuff. But I just wanted to talk to them, because actors weren't there. But I just want to talk to the suit guys and just watch them and do stuff. I was like, I want to do this. I want to do it so bad. That's all I wanted to do, is do that. It was just killer. It's just amazing, man. I'm glad because back then, I had Billy Idol looking hair, so I was unusual. And then I would go to the guys. Everyone asked me, "Why are you into this stuff? Why are you into this stuff?" Because I was older than kids, but I just love it. I grew up on this. I used to talk about all the shows, and I go, "You grew up on it too, but you got to do it." I said, "This is what I want to do. I love this." And they're all like, "Why do you like this stuff? You know about it in America?" And I told them about videotapes and Kiku TV and all that. They're just like, it still bother me. Even when I go to Japan and talk to them now, they're just like, "Why do you like this stuff?" I'm like, I love it. So it's pretty funny.
Absolutely. Well, I won't keep you any longer. I appreciate your time and everything. If you ever want to do it again, you let me know. I'm sure you got it.
If you have something to ask me, let me know.
All right, well,